And now, Trevor, they lay vulnerable to this, like to these monsters. So we're gonna wind up going into it, but let's just get into the TCU part now. How strong is their case? How strong is their case? Conference champ, so all the yays are gonna say, oh, they won their conference. Yeah, but there's 5 Power 5 conferences, there's 4 seats. So if everybody won their conference, still somebody's gonna get left out. That one doesn't hold to me a whole bunch. They have a competitive schedule. Yeah, but they also faced 4 backup quarterbacks this year. KU's quarterback down, K-State quarterbacks down.
Oklahoma State quarterback.
Oklahoma State's quarterbacks down. Like it's 25 spots in the top 25. Like, tell me the monsters you beat. Texas was a good win. But Trevor, how are they going to stand up and make a case against Nick Saban? We know this time of year. This is our time of year. Mm-hmm. Hell, we were in the championship last year and competed. Here comes Ohio State. Yeah, our schedule may not be like, there's not a whole lot of big heads on the wall, but we're Ohio State. You know what we do. Give us that schedule. Give us Kansas State in a do or die. Now they have to hold up against those things. Take care of business. You don't have it. You don't. Now you're vulnerable. How do you feel the committee is going to sway either way, just on TCU?
I think it's completely up in the air, to answer your question. I don't know which way they're going to go. I'll tell you which way I would go. I think that they deserve to be in. And here's why. They proved against all the naysayers that they can not only play offense under a Sonny Dykes-led team, but they can have a gritty, hard-nosed defense. And in that, when you couple those two things together, you can win football games. Also, their only blemish of the season that came today was a top 10 team in a conference championship. That's and it's fair. Not like if they would have lost by 10 points in regulation, maybe a different story, which isn't that much. But Correct. It took a goal line stand in overtime for them to have their only blemish. And That's so for those reasons, I think that they're in. Can we get into a much longer discussion about why they may not end up being in? Sure, but I'll let Matt give his thoughts before I get into that.
So go ahead, Matt. What's odd to me, George, is I look at this and I heard, one of the television bobbleheads say, Ohio State's in, now it's TCU and Alabama. And I'm thinking, wait, what? No, TCU's in. TCU is in. They're in. I don't even know why this is even an argument, actually. Because if you're going to talk about, like, schedules, if you really want to put TCU's schedule against Ohio State's schedule, the playoff committee keeps talking about that Notre Dame win. First off, it was 21-10, all right? It was also in Columbus. And a week after that, 1 week, 7 days after that game, Notre Dame lost at home to Marshall of the Sun Belt.
Was it the next week?
I don't know why this is such a big thing for Ohio
State.
But
if you're in Columbus, you could also say the loss was so devastating to Ohio State they could not get up and go.
Come on, George.
I'm just kidding.
It's week 1 of the season, man. Come on. Right. You're not devastated after week 1. But so I look at that, and I look at not only the way TCU, the way they played the entire season. Frankly, you look at the Big Ten, the Big 12, how much difference is there between those two conferences this year? You look at the Big Ten, it's Ohio State, it's Michigan. And, I hear people say, well, what about Penn State? Well, guess what? Penn State's beating the same slop Michigan and Ohio State are beating. And when Penn State played the two teams of significance, they lost both games. So I look at that and I think, I don't know about the Big Ten this year. And I think the Big 12 was pretty good. I think the Big 12 had 4 or 5 strong teams. Teams at least 2 of them better than what the only 2 in the Big Ten. So to me, this is just to me, and I'm actually blown away when people say that TCU is on the bubble. I think TCU's in. I think the question is who gets the 4? Is it one of the 2? Which one of the 2 pterodactyls or whatever you call? What do you call them, George?
That's fair.
It's the
pterodactyl. But I got you right there, Matt.
Which one of them
slipped up? You just slipped up, right?
What it's the what do you call it?
Well, I don't know what you call it, but I call it you slipped up. Your
Dude.
prior argument, counsel, initially, you use this word 4 times in my notes initially, right out of the gate.
All right.
Best teams. 4 times. Eloquent, powerful, simple. Best teams. Best.
Huh.
Now you're giving me this resume. Look, Penn State and the slop and this guy's and that and the neutral site and over here. Did you see that thing? And don't look over there. All that other stuff. But at kickoff tonight, Field of 12 After Dark, glad you're joining us, by the way. You said best teams.
Best teams. I believe that. Yeah.
So let me tell you what the wise guys, and I just sent it to both of you. The wise guys in Vegas, TCU is not one of the best teams. They laid out Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU, and USC, that top 5, 6 teams. There's only one team they think TCU could beat at a neutral site, and that's USC by 3. Every other team that they feel would play that TCU would match up with, they're on the wrong side of it. Ohio State favored by 5 against TCU, Michigan 5.5, Georgia by 10. Now, does that matter? Maybe, but those guys have been like pretty damn close on everything. Best teams. TCU scrambled out there. And I mean, man, still, we got to raise a glass to the special teams coach at TCU for getting his field goal team on the field, lined up with 11 seconds and no timeouts, and executed. No penalties, no nothing. Snap, ball, good, everything. Go get you some brown water, as you would say. They pulled that off. Ohio State hasn't done that.
Still can't
The
believe
Buckeyes have a double-digit win over everybody they faced this year. Then they ran into a buzzsaw, and that buzzsaw, being Michigan, is ranked higher than TCU. We lost to a monster bigger than you, and we're bigger than you. That's what's going to be fascinating, Trevor, when the committee settles on down, and they're probably having, their swordfish and lamb chops right now, sorting through all this type of stuff. Michigan is bigger than TCU. So for the Buckeyes, hey, look, they might have got us, and they did get us. Oh, they got us. But they're also bigger than the team you're comparing us to.
All right, hold on. Ohio State's in. That was not the argument, right?
No. Well, to Matt, it is.
That's funny. To my point, TCU's in.
Well, no. I don't disagree with you. I think
You're saying they're both in, correct?
I think they're both in.
Okay. So you think Alabama has no chance? You think the boogeyman's not getting it, is what you're saying?
I think Ohio State's in, period, and TCU's the number 4 team over Alabama, is what I believe.
All right. Well, then let's roll to the Tide then. Your thoughts on the Tide, Trevor, now. So you're saying Alabama can't get past TCU's 1 loss.
So this goes back to our argument here. What's the rubric? What are we basing this on? Is it simply off the best teams, like we talked about, like you just mentioned, or is there more to it? And I think given this year, there's more to it. And what they've shown us in the past is there's also more to it. TCU deserves to be in over Alabama this year. Now, historically, will Alabama go and compete better potentially in the playoff? Yes. So George, you're gonna follow me up saying that. Well, then Alabama should be in. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that they deserve to be in with their 2 losses over a TCU team that just lost in overtime to the number 10 team in the country. And that's their only blemish.
That's fair. Okay, so let me roll back to counsel's prior point. Prior. Matt, all 6 of your vehicles are on the line. Your Jeep, your sports car, your SUV, your boat, all your vehicles are on the line. Neutral site, Alabama, TCU gets down. Where do you wager? What you gonna wager?
I'm betting on Alabama every time except for Georgia.
Trevor, TCU and Alabama, neutral site. Now, I'm just asking just that simple question this year. where would you go?
This year, I
All
think
all
I think-
8 of your endorsement deals on the line right now. On the line right now.
yeah, I'll say this. You historically, we got to take that. We got to just sever that in our minds.
That's
and
fair.
take out historically, because this Alabama team is gettable. And yes, they have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Bryce Young, who's unbelievable. But Max
That's fair.
Duggan's playing freaking really good football, and they got some
Also fair.
confidence behind them. Alabama went to Austin and struggled against a Texas team that TCU beat. And that shows me conference to conference right there that they're gettable. And so I think it'd be a lot better game than what we would have expected historically, just like this TCU team. Historically, Sonny Dykes, offensive football, they're not going to line up and hit you in the mouth, but they're doing it. So I'm going to stick to it. I think TCU needs to be in the college football playoff at the number 4 spot over Alabama.
The